SAFM Sports Special, 5:24, and time to focus on, slightly aside from the sport, but linked to sport. Today marks World Rhino Day. We all know it's a massive problem in South Africa and indeed across the world. The demand for rhino horn does not seem to slow down, and it's becoming very, very difficult to fight very organized criminal units who are essentially just butchering rhinos in South Africa and the rest of Africa, chopping off the horns. Now, the FedGroup Berg Bush bike race through KZN is trying to do its little bit, along with the Spionkop Game Reserve, to protect the 28 white rhinos in a celebration of World Rhino Day on Saturday. And Farmer Gary Green joins us on the line to talk to it a little bit more. Farmer Gary, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you for your time. I suppose it was inevitable that the race would end up doing something like this.
Yeah, Steve, definitely. We travel through the Spionkop Game Reserve on every single day, the second day of each of our events of the FedGroup Berg Bush, and there are 28 rhino in the reserve, and there with various other antelope, and we just decided to take on this project this year because there are financial constraints in the conservation services now, and we just decided to get involved and just help them.
So far, the 28 rhino in Spionkop have not been affected. There must be, that is wonderful. Do you think it's possibly part of the fact of the location of Spionkop, which is, I suppose, fairly far away from some other, where the rhinos have been poached in the country? Perhaps they're more accessible.
I don't really think so. I just think that they are very vulnerable. I think any rhino are vulnerable at the moment in KZN. And the problem really with Spionkop is the boundary fence now in places is completely derelict, and in some places non-existent, and the rhino actually get out of the reserve onto private farmland. And on a few occasions they've had to herd them back in again. So really our focus is going to be on spending money on resurrecting the boundary fence just to make sure they stay within the reserve.
How much is it going to cost to get that boundary fence into complete functionality again?
We haven't got quotes at the moment, but I know with game fencing it's probably about 20,000 rand a kilometre. The reserve itself is just under 3,000 hectares, and the conservation services have actually been able to re-erect the fence on the one boundary, but we're going to try and pay for them to re-erect it on the other side, which is, I presume, it's about 10 kilometres of fencing we'll have to try and put up there.
So you're looking at about 200,000 rand at this stage.
Yeah, I think that's probably the figure we're going to go for.
Yeah, and at the moment you've got a straight up commitment at this stage of 25,000. How are the people taking part in the FedGroup Berg Bush going to help contribute to this fundraising effort?
Well, Steve, at the moment as an event we've just committed 25,000 to start the fund off. It's actually going to be headed by Simon Blackburn, who is the lodge owner, Three Tree Lodge, which lies adjacent to the reserve. And at the moment, we're just on an awareness program. We've told all the cyclists that participating in the FedGroup Berg Bush via the newsletter that this is going to be our charity this year. Last year, we had a local farmer's wife, Tracy's uncle, who ran for a charity, and we're going to approach her this year again to maybe run the same trails as cyclists to try and raise money for the rhino.
That should be fantastic. Interestingly, my sister's a big supporter of the Berg Bush event. She was a bit surprised that the way you'd split it up with the midweek race this year as well, which is this FedGroup Berg Bush. How's the response been in terms of entry-wise?
No, it's been great. We started the event 6 years ago. We just had 56 riders, and it was based in the village of Winston, and it's now grown to just under 2,000. So our event on the other weekend, the first being the 3-day descent, has been oversubscribed with a long waiting list. And so is the 2-day the following weekend. So what we actually decided that we had all the tents and the infrastructure up already, why not give other people a chance? So we started a midweek event, which was run on the Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, and we've been very happy. We've had a great response. Thanks.
Okay, excellent. Well, we look forward to catching up with you further to the time, and very good luck with your fundraising events in terms of helping to fight rhino poaching and repair that damaged boundary fence. Talking to farmer Gary Green, Berg Bush Supporting World.